Hi everybody, this is Desiree and this is my week 2 video discussion for chapter 4, the American Revolution, and the group theater by Vertel for acting theory 5363. I'm glad that I read Brestoff's chapter first, because I think that if I would have read about the group theater from Vertel, I would have had a very different impression. I felt like he was really negative in his word choice when he was describing some of their impact, or he used a lot of like failure and comparisons that felt like they weren't good enough, like the outcome of what the group had done wasn't as impactful, or they didn't reach their goal, which was ultimately to carry on forever. And so I just kind of had this like bad taste in my mouth when I read that. I think that failures are always like stepping stones, and so I don't think they were a failure. They set out to do something new and change this like system to their method, which they thought they could make better and Americanize. And then they went on and did all of these other professions and teachers and directors, and then they broke off and went and taught other people. So I don't know that you can call that a failure just because it didn't go on forever. Nothing really lasts forever, and we're not meant to. It's supposed to change and morph as society does. And so I'm really glad that I actually read chapter 4 first. So a couple things that really stuck with me in the Vertel was that failure. Let's see, he said, Clermont being the leading character in the group, his materialized ego, and vice versa. It presents itself as the record of failure and as the apology for the special kind of failure. But at the end, the reader's not certain whether or not it's a success story. So who gets to like decide what's successful? I change my mind all the time. I started off with going to school for history, and I got my degree, and then I started teaching, and then I decided that I wanted to be a reading interventionist and a curriculum instructor, and then a director at a high school. So my successes have changed over my lifetime. And so I think by looking at different impacts that people are making, that's hard to think of things as failures. I really loved the chapter 4 about American Revolution and how, anytime there's changes in society, how it can impact the trajectory of someone's goals or a group's goals. And I love that the group got these ideas from other people. I think that's part of being human, is learning from others and seeing their ways and then adapting it to your own values and beliefs, and taking it even farther, and then teaching others who have other ideas. And I think that was really kind of neat. I didn't quite understand why we took like the American idea and it had to be American writers and American plays, unless at that time they were just trying to have a foothold. And so maybe by trying to advance the American system, that maybe they thought that they would get more buy-in from others, instead of taking plays from like Shakespeare. I know they mentioned that in the chapter, and then building on top of that, unless Americans at that time just were not wanting to go to those types of plays. I, again, really struggled with names. So I had to write them out a couple times and put notes so that I could stick with who people were and how they were all connected. I did love that they would go to like local zoos or take these field trips on their own and then imitate these and like improv in class. I think that's a really great idea. instead of having someone just come up with it on the spot, they've given them time to like go and do a little bit of research and then apply that. So I thought that was great, especially for my kids. A lot of times if I give them a scenario, maybe they don't have the background of what the scenario actually is or what something looks like or what an object does. And so I almost feel like they're lacking that like connection. So having them actually go out in the field and like do things is actually really kind of neat. I highlighted a lot in this chapter. I love that they talked a lot about just committing to the group and starting in a barn and then making their way until this, like they become this super group that people want to be a part of, and then they take that and learn from each other and stretch it and make it even bigger. I was a little sad that one of the members went off and did, learned for herself, which I get, wanting to go a different way, and then bringing that information back, and then them maybe starting to deteriorate a little bit of feeling like there is something different and more than what the original goal was, and then people started breaking off. So not that Stella wasn't trying to make things better, that I don't think that was her intention of like giving people, new and additional information, but just that it was kind of sad that it had the impact that it did in a more negative way on the group than what she maybe expected it to happen. But again, nothing I don't think was a failure of the group. I think they all started out with this great idea and they all learned from it, and then they took it and they made something new, and then we wouldn't be where we are if that didn't happen. So I wonder, had Stella not come back and given new information to the group, what it would have looked like. Would someone else have done it? Would a new member have come in with new training from somewhere else and had maybe the same kind of impact that it had? So the chapter was really neat. I'm looking forward to kind of seeing where this goes.